Have you ever stopped to wonder if we're truly at the top of the food chain? It's a comforting thought, isn't it? That we, humanity, are the pinnacle of evolution on this planet. But what if that's just an illusion? What if, in a way we can't see, we are the food? And what kind of food could we possibly be? This isn't about physical consumption, but something much more subtle, much more profound. We tend to believe we're the most advanced species, the masters of our own destiny. But what if unseen forces, higher entities, have been influencing our path all along without us ever realizing it? Today we're diving deep into an ancient mystery, exploring the hidden forces that mythologies, religions, and philosophies have whispered about for millennia. These stories suggest we've never been truly alone or in control. And this isn't just ancient history. We'll also explore the work of Robert Monroe, a pioneer in out-of-body experiences. In his journeys beyond the physical, he stumbled upon a startling concept, an energy that radiates from human beings, an energy he called Loosh. According to his discoveries, this Loosh is collected by unknown entities. So, join me as we unravel the revelations Monroe received in other dimensions, and uncover how this valuable elixir could be the key to understanding the very creation of our reality. Throughout history, countless cultures have sensed the presence of invisible beings guiding the world from the shadows. The ancient Greeks, for instance, told tales of the gods on Mount Olympus, manipulating the fates of mortals, playing with their lives like pieces on a cosmic chessboard. In ancient Sumeria, stories of the Annunaki emerged divine beings who, according to some interpretations, came down to earth and played a direct role in creating and steering humanity. This theme of powerful non-human intervention isn't limited to pagan myths. Biblical narratives are filled with it. In the Old Testament, God often appears as a powerful, sometimes vengeful force, guiding his people through immense catastrophes, wars, and trials of faith. The stories of the Great Flood, the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah, and the plagues of Egypt are all examples of direct, world-altering intervention. These accounts show a power far beyond human control, shaping the course of history. Even more fascinating are the Gnostic traditions. They believed our material world was created by a lesser being, a flawed creator called the Demiurge. This Demiurge populated the world with entities known as Archons, whose job was to keep human souls trapped in the physical realm, lost in an illusion, and cut off from true divine knowledge. For the Gnostics, spiritual awakening or gnosis was the only way to see past the illusion, transcend the material world, and finally reunite with the true divine source. All these ancient narratives, from different corners of the world, point to a single, unsettling idea, that humanity has never been fully in charge. That external forces, whether we call them gods, angels, or archons, have always played a crucial role in our evolution. This idea of unseen influence takes a fascinating modern turn with the work of Robert Monroe. Monroe was an ordinary businessman who began having extraordinary experiences, spontaneous out-of-body projections. Instead of dismissing them, he decided to study them scientifically, pioneering the exploration of altered states of consciousness. Throughout his life, he meticulously documented his journeys, where his consciousness would leave his physical body and travel to other realities, dimensions that defy our current scientific understanding. During these travels, Monroe didn't just float through empty space. He encountered beings of superior intelligence, entities who acted as his guides, leading him toward a deeper understanding of the universe and humanity's place within it. It was through these incredible encounters that Monroe discovered a shocking truth. Earth wasn't just some isolated planet evolving on its own. It was a stage, a purpose-built environment, for a much broader and more mysterious cosmic plan. In one of these encounters, he received what he could only describe as a package of information, a direct download of knowledge that left him stunned. The revelation was this: human emotions, our conflicts, our suffering, our joy, they aren't just fleeting personal experiences. They are a source of energy, a potent, refined energy. This energy, which his guides called Loosh, is harvested and used by invisible forces for purposes that are completely beyond our comprehension. Let's talk more about that pivotal moment. During one of his most profound out-of-body experiences, Robert Monroe had an encounter that would forever change his worldview. He found himself in a plane of existence far beyond our physical reality, where he met an entity he nicknamed BB. This being was part of what seemed like an exploratory expedition, a sort of cosmic cruise, visiting what they call the illusion of time-space, our physical universe. Monroe learned that in these higher realities, communication is nothing like it is here. There are no words, no sounds, no symbols. Messages are shared instantly and directly, like a data download that penetrates your consciousness in its entirety. It is through this incredible method of transfer that Monroe received the package of information that contained this vast, complex knowledge about our origins. The information download began with a simple, chilling statement. Someone, somewhere, it began, requires, needs, values, and collects a substance identified as Loosh. This substance, it explained, is incredibly rare in the somewhere that these beings come from, and it is vital to them. They use it for, well, the purpose remains a mystery. But they need it. The information went on to explain that in its raw natural state, Loosh originates from the life-death cycle of living organisms, specifically from the vibratory actions in the carbon-oxygen cycle. Think of it as a subtle residue of life itself. Explorers from this somewhere roamed the cosmos searching for sources of Loosh, and every new discovery was a cause for major celebration. This sets the stage for the story of how our world, our garden, came to be. The story continues explaining how a specific group of these beings decided to create Earth as a grand experiment to produce and harvest this precious elixir, Loosh, on a massive scale. They found a remote corner of the universe and began their project. Their first attempt was to create life in a liquid environment, but the Loosh production was weak and of poor quality. The life forms were too simple and short-lived. So they tried again. The second crop involved creating vast vegetation, but this also proved inefficient. Damaging the plants and trees did generate small amounts of Loosh, but it was a slow, tedious process. The harvest was still insufficient. The third attempt was a major leap. They engineered organisms to feed on the plants, creating the first walkers, herbivorous dinosaurs. But a new problem arose. These creatures ate too much, threatening to consume the entire garden and destroy the ecosystem. However, they made a critical discovery. They noticed that conflict between these walkers generated a much more potent form of Loosh. This led to a breakthrough. They designed a smaller version of these walkers, carnivores, whose purpose was to hunt the others. The fear, the struggle, the fight for survival. This generated Loosh in greater quantity and quality. The rule was established. Conflict is a catalyst. This led them to their final ultimate creation, the fourth crop. The giant walkers were cleared away, and new, more complex life forms were designed. Among them, a physically weak but uniquely special species emerged, humans. We were given two key advantages. First, we were omnivores, able to get energy from both plants and other animals. But the second advantage was the masterstroke. We were endowed with what they called a divine spark, a tiny fragment of our Creator, its own essence. This spark creates a constant, unquenchable drive within us. A deep, spiritual dissatisfaction that can never be fully satisfied by anything in this material world. It's that feeling of searching for something more, for purpose, for connection to the infinite. This internal conflict, combined with the external struggles for survival, makes humans the perfect, continuous generators of the highest grade Loosh. With the creation of humanity, the garden finally reached peak production. We became the ultimate crop in this cosmic farm. Thank you so much for joining me on this mind-bending journey today. If you found this exploration into the nature of reality as fascinating as I do, please hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the mysteries of our universe. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, stay curious. Have you ever felt like your emotions, your very essence, are part of something much bigger? Imagine discovering that every feeling, from the deepest love to the most intense pain, generates a special energy, an energy that might just be the most valuable resource in the universe. This is the story of Loosh, a concept explored by Robert Monroe that could change how you see reality itself. Monroe's astral explorations led him to a startling discovery. At first, it seemed that the energy, which he called Loosh, was primarily generated by conflict and struggle. But then, he found a purer, more refined version that came from human beings, especially when they felt isolated and lonely. This led to a formula. Distilled Loosh is generated from dissatisfaction, and the more intense it is, the greater the production. To enhance this harvest, changes were made in what he called the garden. Creatures were separated to create loneliness, and emotions like love and pain were promoted as they were key to producing this potent energy. When Monroe first uncovered this, he was in a state of shock. The idea that humanity was part of some cosmic farm, our emotions harvested without our consent, seemed too absurd to be real. He felt betrayed, manipulated, as if every human action was just a means to an end for some unseen beings. The weight of this revelation was crushing, leaving him emotionally drained and filled with a profound sense of helplessness. For weeks, he was lost in a deep sadness, with no desire to explore the astral realms. But one day, a surge of energy returned. Determined, he ventured out to find who or what was feeding on us. He sought out intelligent species he called the others, beings with a perception far beyond human limits. They gave him an information packet about Loosh, and what it revealed began to shift his entire understanding. Loosh, he learned, was an energy generated by all organic life, but its purest form came from intense human emotions. The contradiction was that love produced it, but so did pain, hatred, and fear. How could this be? The others clarified that the confusion wasn't in the information, but in the human interpretation of these concepts. To truly understand, Monroe had to transcend his human perception of time and space. In a moment of deep reflection, he was shown a profound truth. Just as all colors originate from a single source of white light, all emotions emerge from a common essence, an essence we call love. The differences we perceive, joy, anger, fear, are simply variations in frequency and amplitude, like different colors in a spectrum. He finally began to see the true purpose. Humanity was in a kind of school, a learning environment designed to generate high-quality Loosh. The ultimate goal was to produce this energy in its purest form, love. The so-called negative experiences, the anger, the pain, the fear were actually essential parts of this interactive learning process. They were opportunities to learn, to purify and transmute lower emotions into that special high-frequency wave of energy we label as love. He realized, with a deep sense of gratitude, that without this grand design, without someone, humanity wouldn't even exist. But who was this someone? Monroe questioned if the beings who created this system were the ultimate origin. The answer he received was even more mind-bending. It is a creator that was created, they told him. Not only that, but every human being, including Monroe himself, was also a creator, a creation within an infinite chain of creation. Each of us holds a divine spark, an intelligent packet of information from our creator, which in turn contains a perception of its creator, and so on infinitely. Creation wasn't a single event. It's a continuous, eternal cycle where every being is both the creator and the created. Finally, the entities led him to the center of Loosh processing. There, he saw a radiant figure transforming into a series of luminous orbs, extending infinitely, with beams of light emanating from them. As he touched one of these rays, he received a download of knowledge so profound that, even if he couldn't remember it all, he knew he was forever changed. The Loosh generated by humans was transmuted in this center and then redistributed throughout the universe to where it was most needed. Love, he understood, is the essence of Loosh, and our human experience is not just about living and evolving. but about contributing to this cosmic flow, connecting all beings in a grand cycle of creation. So, what does this mean for us? Looking at our world, it's easy to see it as a farm, to feel manipulated and powerless. But that's a limited view. Loosh is our emotional energy, the very force we use to create our reality. It's the fuel for the physical universe, keeping everything in motion. Our purpose is to learn to consciously use this power. While some beings might feed on negative loosh, we often get stuck in those low vibration emotions ourselves, like choosing a horror film on Netflix. The key is to heal, to change our energetic preferences, and to stop getting swept away by negativity. Certain powers in our world actively try to keep us in low vibrational states of fear and anger, diverting our creative power for their own benefit. But when we consciously connect with our emotional energy in its purest form, love, we can create positive realities and elevate our consciousness. We don't just create loosh, we distill it. Low-frequency emotions like shame and hatred keep us trapped. High-frequency emotions like gratitude and love give us what Monroe called escape velocity, allowing us to transcend the dense energies and the cycle of reincarnation. Loosh is our most valuable resource. If we don't control our attention and emotions, our life force can be used to manifest negative realities. But if we master it through mindfulness, meditation, and self-awareness, we can manifest a life aligned with our highest aspirations. We can become the conscious creators we were always meant to be. Did you know about the concept of loosh? What do you think of this vision? If you want to learn more about Robert Monroe, check out my previous video on his life and work. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. If you found this interesting, please like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.